So moving on to the number 2 crypto, Mr. Vitalik himself. If you don't know who this is Vitalik's dad, and he's an absolute Chad. He's shredded. And then we have the vegetarian mega brain son who's not shredded. And there's been a lot of stuff going on again this week with the authorities and Ethereum. So reports from insiders. Now, mind you, I don't really believe insiders at all. It's always just like, hey, the Fed's gonna cut, and then it never happens, right? I just don't believe insiders. But this is maybe a pretty good one. U.S. SEC expected to deny the spot Ether ETFs next month. So they're gonna come out and say it's a security. Well, Consensus went ahead and filed in a federal court. They sued the SEC over the unlawful seizure of authority over Ethereum. And that's kind of interesting. This is something where we might actually see the Supreme Court come out and say, nah, SEC, Gensler, you're wrong. This is a commodity. It's not a security. SEC is being gross here. But this was pretty cool because it's like, F it. Y'all gonna serve us and do all this other stuff. We're just gonna take you to court. Like, we're gonna preemptively sue you. And my second favorite lawyer in the crypto industry, shout out to my favorite lawyer who will be unnamed. I know ETH is a commodity. Paul at Coinbase, this is the head of legal at Coinbase. You know ETH is a commodity. The CFTC knows ETH is a commodity. It's time for the SEC to admit that it still knows ETH is a commodity too. No more games. Thank you to Consensus for standing up against the SEC's unlawful expansion of authority. So basically, they kind of served Gensler a Wells notice. Now, back to, we've been talking channel walkers, and I'm not on log anymore, is it? Yep, I need to be logarithmic. I wish my lines would not move like that. Now, this is the old Ethereum chart that I posted months back, and I said, hey, we're looking at probably a 60% run that's going to break out of this channel walk. And we ended up going, I think, like 70%, and then it broke, and a lot of people like accused me of being a mega ETH bear, even though I have a very, very, very large position in ETH. My point is, this was right to a T. I'm not asking for clout. I'm trying to point that, like, this is a live example of how these channel walkers play out, because we're seeing this channel walker in a lot of the trade fights. So I wanted to review this one with you guys real quick. And we had a channel walk, and if you remember my old streams on this, it's like, dude, I freaking love Ethereum. Love it, love it, love it. But if you project this out, this channel walker was going to hit over $100,000 per Ethereum by the end of the year. And that's just not really possible. Maybe if they killed the dollar, you could do it, but this just isn't possible. So we were expecting a rollover, and this is rolling over just like the S&P's rolling over right now. The S&P's like here, right? We haven't seen the rest of the picture, and this is an old fractal that I drew over the chart, and I'll be damned, it's like to a T. Now, hopefully we have an order block here that holds it, but the point being is take a look at this chart, figure out how to draw it on your charts with the paint. Because if you figure out, here's an obvious channel, whales are in control, they're spending a lot of energy here to do this, here's the channel walker tool hugging it, I'm locked in. I have a channel walker that's in play, especially if you tag in this reversion band, they can't really hold this for a very long time. And the truth is, it just, no matter what you do, I don't care what size whale you are, even if you're like the Fed themselves, Yellen can't support major coins in the top 10 hanging in these bands. They just don't have enough fuel, and that's kind of like the basis of like rainbow theory. What can a whale do? What can't a whale do? And that's kind of the basis of the colors. Like, this is a lot of effort. This is not a lot of effort. It's kind of like how Morpheus in like the Matrix movie kind of figures out like the bots have limits. They're not infinite. So if you can get above their limits, you know, you could beat them. Well, the idea is the whales can't do this nonstop. Like, we know the whales can't send Ethereum to 100,000K in 9 months or 7 months, whatever. And I'm bullish on Ethereum. It's not bearish. It's just you have to be realized, like, we're aiming at a trajectory that's impossible. Something has to change, and that's where you get this, which is going to be consolidation. Highly likely it's distribution. Unlikely in my opinion, because we're going into a bull run. I don't expect these distributions to like permanently nuke and retrace. So if we're lucky, this is where we find support here at like 3,000. I don't want to go below it because the old fractals show us going down to like 25, which I really, really don't want to do. But I'm just going to buy more. But anyway, shout out to channel walkers because they're what paying the bills right now. But if you guys have any questions, hit me up in a DM or whatever. We can definitely do this, or in the Discord. Definitely go hit up the Discord because I'm not the only one who's been in channel walkers. They've figured out the language that I've been speaking, and they've been able to trade these too. So anyway, Ethereum is doing exactly what Ethereum's done in years past. It's the same setup. A lot of people don't spot it, but if you learn how to draw like a channel walker, you see your channel walker tool hugging just below it. You see that they're painting nice, pretty paint into this. You want to see your blues, your purples, and steady run into this and try to tag this rainbow for a bit, the reversion bands. You're going to get that rollover to the right. It's just a matter of time. It's just how these things play out. Like we went and looked at Apple, right? I can just show you this one real quick. You see the old Apple channel walk? Let me make sure this is, yeah, it's everything. Sorry, I draw these sometimes and I don't realize I'm not in the log, but that's your channel walker on a TradeFi with the perfect channel walker tool hugging your channel, and then it breaks through. So even if like we were to just keep trucking through this and we're still like all-time highs, the key is to recognize this break, because you can protect yourself. Because if things go real south, you're hedged from that and you're protected from it. That's the key. And that's what you can catch on these shifts is like, hey, trend's changed. And once you get in this trend, you can recognize to yourself and be in the moment, because trading live pays bills. Trading in hindsight, you can get like followers on Twitter, but like trading live with the whales and seeing what they're doing, that's where this stuff is at. And that's what channel walker setups are all about, because they tell you, rainbow theory wise, like, hey, your big whales who are supporting this, they're not doing that anymore. And they've either flipped short, got out of their position, they're hedging, or they're going to pump their brakes and reaccumulate before they go for another run. And so far, Apple is down, pulled back like 17%. And it's currently down 15%, which it doesn't sound like a lot when we're talking about like PopCat, but that's a big thing you could have protected yourself from on a drawdown. And it's just, you got to chill. Maybe this is a creek, who knows? It kind of looks like that. But the other thing too, since it's here, watch out for these. That's a slightly higher high, and that'll bait people to get long, and then the whales will say, see ya, and they'll nuke you. You want to see strong follow-throughs. You don't want to see blues to greens. You want to see blues turn into purples and send it. You want to see follow-through. More strength, more energy, get it done. But back to my thing on Ethereum. Altcoin Psycho. Big place in my heart. Always loved my guy AP, because he helped mentor me a little bit when I was much younger. But he brought up a really good point on Ethereum, and he says nobody's going to mention that ETH is still holding despite the news that the ETFs are likely going to get not be approved. And this is another point. ETH didn't just go straight to 2,500 or 2,000 or even zero. Like, you got to be cognizant of this. It's good to see strength. I love seeing bad news and price going sideways. What I hate seeing is bad news and new price nuking. It's not a sign of strength. When I see bad news hitting Ethereum, like an ETF not getting approved next month, which is the last cutoff date, that's a really bad big deal thing. But price is not falling off the face of the earth. And you have to remember, when the XRP news came out on like the SEC stuff, with their lawsuits, XRP just nuked instantly. So keep that in mind.